Hello, friends, and welcome back to TJKidz Super Fun Stories, where imagination becomes reality. Today, we've got another Ganomee adventure, and you can know what that means. Yeah, Ganomee is back, pronouncing every silent letter he sees, making even the simplest words sound, well, pretty complicated. But today he's meeting someone who speaks just as strangely as he does, an Oxymoron Gnome. Oh boy, that sounds disastrously delightful. An oxymoron is a figure of speech that puts two opposite words together in one short phrase. Things like awfully good, pretty ugly, seriously funny, or same difference. Try to listen for them as you follow along. Things are about to get pretty crazy in Gnomesville today, so grab a comfy spot, get cozy, and join me on this adventure. Ganomee the Gnome meets the Oxymoron Gnome. The gnomes of Gnomesville were going about their day, tending to their gardens, picking fresh berries, and arguing about who had the fanciest beard, when an unfamiliar traveler wandered into the village square. He carried a map that looked worn and had many markings all over it. He approached the villagers with a cheerful smile.
"Greetings, my tiny giants,"
The traveler announced.
"I'm Oxy Gnome from the Pretty Ugly Pines. Can you help me find the Jumbo Little Village?"
The gnomes stared at him with puzzled looks plastered on their faces. "Did you just call us giants?" one gnome asked.
"Oh no,"
Oxy replied cheerfully.
"of course not. I called you tiny giants."
The gnomes all looked around, trying to figure out if anyone understood.
"Well, which one?"
said one gnome.
"Tiny or giants? Can't be both. We see ourselves as just the right size."
Oxy laughed.
"Huh, that was awfully funny. That joke was so bad, it's good."
But the gnomes weren't laughing. Nobody knew what was happening. Was he laughing at them? And what joke? And even if there was a joke, no one knew if he thought it was good or bad. But this wasn't the first time they'd had this feeling. It was the same feeling they had when they met Ganomee, the silent letter gnome, for the first time. They needed some help to figure this out. One gnome cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted,
"Leonard, you'd better come here."
Leonard, the village leader, hurried over. "Welcome to Gnomesville, weary traveler. I'm Leonard. What can we do for you?"
"Ah, hello,"
Oxy replied.
"You must be the big little boss. I'm Oxy Gnome, and I'm looking for the Jumbo Little Village."
"Oh my," Leonard hesitated. "Well, which village were you looking for exactly? The Jumbo Village or the Little Village?"
"Yes,"
Oxy replied confidently.
"the Jumbo Little Village."
Leonard held up one finger. "Just a moment, please." He turned to the other gnomes and whispered, "I think we're going to need Ganomee to translate. I'm not sure I understand what our new friend is saying." Leonard invited Oxy to join them for some hospitality while they sorted things out. Fresh berry tea, mushroom muffins, and a seat by the warm fire. Then he set off to find Ganomee. Because if anyone could decode this traveler's strange way of speaking, it was the gnome who spoke in silent letters. Ganomee walked up confidently, his hands folded behind his back.
"Greetings, friend,"
he said warmly. I'm Ganomee the Gnome. I understand that you are new here. My fellow gnomes have informed me that they did not know exactly what you are looking for. I thought I would try and help. Have no doubt I will do my best. Oxy stared at him blankly for a moment, processing what he just heard.
I don't know most of what you just said,
He replied.
but that is awfully kind of you to help. But it's simply difficult to understand you.
Ganomee crossed his arms. Hey, he snapped. It's not awful to be kind. I was taught to always do what is right. Kindness creates bridges to help us learn about one another.
Oh,
Oxy said, nodding.
yes, kindness is good. That's what I said. I'm clearly confused here.
So, which is it? Ganomee asked. Are you clear or confused? Oxy scratched his head. Now he was confused.
Let me start again,
He said.
I am simply looking for the Jumbo Little Village. Do you know where it is?
Ah, I can know the problem, Ganomee said confidently. You are lost. So which one are you looking for? The jumbo or the little?
That's the name of the village.
Oxy explained.
The Jumbo Little Village.
Ganomee thought for a moment. Ah, I see. You would like to know where the village named the Jumbo Little Village is located. Honestly, I've never heard of it. Could you by chance have the wrong name?
I'm clearly confused again,
Oxy responded. And yet, somehow clear, Ganomee said. How fascinating. Both stared at each other, equally baffled by the other's confusing speech. Leonard noticed the two were having trouble understanding one another. Why don't we all sit down for a bite and sort this out? The gnomes gathered around a long wooden table. Mushroom muffins, berry tea, and a warm stew filled the air with cozy smells. Oxy grabbed a muffin, sniffed it, and took a bite.
Wow,
He said.
These muffins are awfully good.
The chef stopped mid-stir and glared at Oxy. Awfully? What's awful about my muffins?
No,
Oxy responded.
I said awfully good. That means they're really good.
The chef squinted at Oxy. Well, that's a terrible compliment. Oxy smiled.
Exactly,
He said.
Terribly honest.
Ganomee stepped into the conversation. Ah, I think I can know what is happening here. You just have a unique way of speaking, just like the other gnomes here. The gnomes glanced around, whispering and shrugging at one another, all silently thinking that they weren't the ones who spoke funny. But they nodded politely anyway, knowing Ganomee was doing his best to clear up the confusion. Oxy continued eating.
I must say, this stew is pretty ugly, but it's awfully yummy.
The chef dropped his ladle. Ugly? Awful? Enough from you! Out! Out, I tell you! Out! Leonard quickly grabbed Oxy by the arm and shuffled him outside. Why don't we go outside for some fresh air? Gnome followed after them. Just then, Leonard spotted Willie, the traveler gnome. He knew all of the surrounding villages better than anyone. Willie, you know every village from here to the Isle of Isles. Do you happen to know where the Jumbo Little Village is? Leonard asked.
Oh, sure I do, he said confidently. It's right past the Bittersweet Bridge, just before the Seriously Silly Settlement, and across from the Minor Major Meadows.
Gnome turned to Oxy.
The villages you seek all sound the way you speak. In opposites, I can't say I knew they existed. Yes,
Oxy agreed.
They're awfully wonderful.
Willie helped Oxy draw a path on his map to the Jumbo Little Village. As Oxy packed his tiny satchel, Gnome came to a realization.
I've got it, he shouted. I know what is happening. You speak in oxymorons. What did you call me? I happen to be terribly intelligent. Thank you very much,
Oxy replied.
Oh no, Gnome said. An oxymoron is a figure of speech that puts two opposite words together in one short phrase. I thought you knew that. Oh, I see,
Oxy replied.
I did not realize I speak that way. This has been a seriously funny visit. Exactly, Gnome nodded. It has been delightful. Even though, we did not fully understand you, we were able to bridge the language gap. Agreed, said Oxy. Well, it was terribly nice to meet all of you. There you go again, Gnome responded. Honestly, you could probably just say nice to meet you instead.
Oxy smiled.
Same difference. Okay, said Gnome. Now my brain hurts.
Everyone laughed. Leonard stepped forward. Safe travels, Oxy. May your journey be confusingly clear in all the best ways. Oxy tipped his hat.
It already is.
He headed toward the Bittersweet Bridge on his way to the Jumbo Little Village, whistling happily the whole way. Gnome watched him go. I know one thing, he said. We may not speak the same way, but we can still be friends. The gnomes all nodded in agreement. The end. And that is the end of our story, friends. Wow, that was quite confusing. I think my brain hurts a little. In the best way. I'm not totally sure if we all became smarter today and learned some new grammar, or if I accidentally turned all of our brains into mush. Maybe a little of both. And that leads me to a moral I learned from today's story. Even when people speak differently, think differently, or communicate in ways we don't understand at first, kindness, patience, and curiosity help us to connect. When we take the time to listen, we can bridge any gap, even a silent letter gap or an oxymoron gap. Oh, and parents, if you're enjoying these stories or listen regularly, I'd really appreciate a follow on the channel, and reviews are always appreciated. It helps our stories become more visible for other kids who might love them too. Well, that's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Toodles!